Hi, Steve. Thank you for joining me via video today to discuss some really important decisions you have coming up. My name is Emily. I'm a nurse practitioner here at CVMC, and I saw in your file that you wanted to discuss the Death with Dignity Act, or medical assistance in dying, which is a program, or it's a policy here in the state of Vermont that will allow a person to make some decisions about how they want to end their life. So since this is just an informational session today, I'm talking to you through a televideo visit. I'm just going to share a ton of information. I did print out some forms too, and some informational pieces that I can send you through my chart, or I could drop in the mail, depending on what is easier for you. But first, I just want to say thank you for coming to me well in advance, kind of knowing that you have some decisions to make. Having received a diagnosis of less than 6 months to live is not an easy thing to work through for a lot of people. And I think talking about what your wishes are and how you want to see your life end is really important. So I really applaud you for doing that. I'm going to just start off with going over a little bit of information. I think there is a lot of perhaps misinformation out there about physician-assisted suicide, as a lot of people will call it. You think of Jack Kevorkian and some of these really ridiculous media cases, but it's not like that. Here in Vermont, we passed what is actually Act 39, the Death with Dignity Act, back in 2013. And so this specific act allows a physician, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specific roles, who can and cannot do certain things according to this act, but it allows a physician to prescribe a terminally ill, capable adult patient to obtain medication that you self-administer for the purpose of hastening your own death. So it's really an empowering perspective, or an empowering approach for a lot of patients, because ultimately the decision is in your hands. And that's why it's really key for us to talk now and get the process started early. I also think it's really interesting that in 2023, Vermont became the first state, I'm pretty sure in the entire country, where MAID, I'm just going to say MAID now for medical assistance in dying, for qualifying patients who don't legally reside in Vermont. So we kind of even opened it up a bit further. There are only, I want to say maybe 10 other states that have a law like this. You can go to Maine, New Jersey, New Mexico, Colorado, Montana, California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii have similar bills. Similar laws, and there are some acts pending in Michigan, New York, and Pennsylvania. I really do want to say that this is voluntary. It's really important that this is not made under duress. This is a very important decision. I think we celebrate how people enter the world very differently than how people exit the world. And if at any time it doesn't feel right, you want to make a change, that is your choice. So right now it's just purely informational here. So you can change your mind at any time. The organizations that are involved can also change their minds. There's no obligation for an agency or an organization or a physician to participate. So it's kind of this mutual thing between your provider and you. Any questions so far? No, you're good? Okay, good. So let's just get to the nitty gritty here. I'm sorry, I have some notes. So in order to qualify for Act 39, you have to be a legal adult, so 18 or older. We've checked that off. Have a terminal illness with a prognosis of less than 6 months to live. So it has been documented and thoroughly assessed that this is a condition that will not improve. You have to be capable of making your own healthcare decisions. So the act is set up in such a way where you plan. It's not something that, as you're emotionally nearing an event or the end of your life, that you're making this choice. You have to be able to make an informed and voluntary request to your physician, and you have to be able to self-administer this medication. So these pieces come together, you meet those criteria, then you're a good candidate for MAID. And I do want to kind of come back. I know I'm your primary care provider. I can support you. I can make referrals, but it does have to be like a hospice or palliative referral, but it does have to be a physician who prescribes those medications, those specific medications. So I can't do it, but I will support you and make sure care is coordinated in such a way that it all comes together. But I can connect you with someone in my office who would be willing to discuss the prescribing further. And I do really want to take this time now to process some of the other options. I know you've had a lot of information coming your way about what you shouldn't do. Here's resources and whatnot. But I do think we should go through the other options, all the options beyond MAID. There is disease treatment, which I think we've pretty thoroughly explored. Palliative care plays a big part in this. So how do we improve your quality of life all the way through your life? Home health and hospice, these are referrals that I can make for palliative and home health. Pain and anxiety management is another component of this beyond just MAID. And we can do a couple of other things as well, like voluntary stopping of eating and drinking. This is an option some patients choose. It's called VSED. We can withdraw medical treatments that are no longer relevant or wanted. That kind of goes along with hospice. And then it's important to have, and required for MAID, to have an active DNR, an advance directive on file. So do not resuscitate orders as well. So your wishes are very nicely lined. So we can do this in conjunction. We can take what we want, put it together to make a plan for you. And our care coordination team here, we have some really great social workers and care management coordinators who can help with this too. And hospice often does serve as an anchor for all of this. They can kind of help, the hospice professional can kind of support you too as you go through this process. Let's see. So one of the things we need to make sure, and I do have forms I can send along to have an appointment of a healthcare agent. So it's really important to identify somebody who can speak on your behalf if you cannot. But only you personally can administer the medication. So you are the only one who can touch that. And in an advance directive, which I have that right here, we can send to you, make sure it's all up to date. You can outline exactly what you want, the care you want, write down what's most meaningful, what's most important, how you would like your care to be managed. So if you want to move forward with this, the patient has to make patient being you, two oral requests 15 days apart to the physician that is going to write that prescription. And then you make a written request, and here is the form for that. So request for medication for the purposes of hastening my death. So you make that request, and then a second physician has to verify. So you have your prescribing physician, and then you have another physician who is going to confirm that you qualify at that time. And you should maybe start this about 2 months in advance of when you think you might want to enact MAID for yourself. Once this is all done, the physician will write those prescriptions with instructions on how to administer them. And it is highly recommended that a hospice nurse be present at the time of when you decide to do it. and have family, friends, other people who are there to support you. That's also really, really necessary. To get started, I know we're running short on time, but formally, let me know when you want to get started. You make that oral request. The physician that is going to take your case, hopefully someone in our office, will do a thorough physical exam. They'll review your medical records, make sure you do meet Act 39 requirements, and then they have to inform you both verbally and in writing your diagnosis, your prognosis, the range of treatment options that are appropriate for your diagnosis, all feasible end-of-life services, including everything that we've talked about: comfort care, hospice care, pain control, palliative, and a range of possible results. In addition, and like the risks of taking some of these medications. And again, you can rescind that request at any time. So the next step, once that happens, is we have to verify, or they have to verify your capacity to make that decision. So whether you have impaired judgment at the time, usually this is done by a psychiatrist or a psychologist or possibly a clinical social worker who will make that decision that you are capable of doing, making that choice for yourself and you don't have impaired judgment, why it's important to do this early. Then you would get an appointment with the second physician who would basically do a similar type of assessment, verify all of the things, the diagnosis, the prognosis, that you are acting voluntarily and making this informed decision on your own. And then you make your written request again, with two individuals witnessing it so they can document that it wasn't under any duress and it was of your own free will and you were under no influence at the time. I know I've gone over a little bit for our appointment, but do you have any questions? I know that's a lot. Okay, good. So I will also in your packet include this form I found, or we give out to patients, how to talk to your doctor about this. I think it will give you some good pointers on how to bring this up as you go forward. And again, as your primary care provider, I am here to answer questions, help facilitate the process, and connect you to people as you need to be connected. Even though I can't be that physician, I can be someone who supports you through this. So I will get these sent to you, and then we'll meet again in maybe a couple of weeks to see what you're thinking. Okay? Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care.